us have an endocannabinoid system, and you can see they're located right throughout our bodies. Deep within our brain, just above the brainstem, is a cluster of nerve cells called the hypothalamus. Your body has developed a highly honed ability to achieve an internal state of equilibrium, referred to as homeostasis. The hypothalamus contains cannabinoid receptors, and research shows that the endocannabinoids that bind to these receptors help regulate homeostasis. Endocannabinoids are those that we make within our own body. Anandamide is one of those. It's even in breast milk, so we have these right from before birth. We give our babies these necessary building blocks from birth. Disruption to this process through illness, injury or medication can affect homeostasis. This system of checks and balances to keep you functioning on an even keel is influenced by the endocannabinoid system. Both internal or endogenous cannabinoids, called endocannabinoids, which we make within our own bodies, and external cannabinoids, phytocannabinoids, those are found in plants. They affect the cannabinoid system, which means that they have a role in this balancing act. The endocannabinoid system consists of cannabinoid receptors located throughout the central and peripheral nervous systems and immune system. These receptors bind to both endocannabinoids and external cannabinoids, such as THC and CBD, along with many other chemical compounds in cannabis. The cannabinoids from cannabis have the ability to bind to cannabinoid receptors and restore balance. Cannabis is shown to offer both health benefits in treating a number of conditions associated with homeostatic imbalance, including arthritis, lupus, depression, fibromyalgia, appetite disorders, diabetes, Crohn's disease, cancer, epilepsy, autism, ADHD and ADD, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, body weight, psychosis or schizophrenia. And Aristotle once said, nature abhors a vacuum. Nature also abhors imbalance. And like a tightrope walker, we need to be able to restore balance for ultimate functioning and performance. Cannabis can help us walk that health tightrope. We've got a couple little videos here about the endocannabinoid system that you can have a look at that and go for a couple of minutes each.
Yep, hang on. You want me to put one up?
Yeah,
Endocannabinoid Dr. Robert.
yeah, thank you. That's the first one.
I was former chairman of the biology department there, and currently, in addition to my role as professor, I'm also CEO and president of Cannabis Science, a publicly traded company on the NASDAQ bulletin board, CBIS. I was studying free radicals, and I was studying radiation chemistry and DNA repair. So that gave me a foundation to understand free radicals as very important modulators, essentially, of aging and age-related illnesses, which is really what cannabis does. So by combining my understanding of life from the thermodynamic point of view, pharmacoequilibrium thermodynamic point of view, in conjunction with my expertise in radiation chemistry and free radicals, and being a lifelong cannabis user, I've been in a very unique position to assemble those three entities into a cohesive perspective as to what life is and the fundamental role that the endocannabinoid system plays in life, and how it modulates an imbalance that we all suffer. And people in general are aware that omega-3s are good for you and they inhibit various cardiovascular problems. What most people are not aware of is that they're participatory directly in the endocannabinoid system, and that they make a variety of our endocannabinoids, and they're part of the bigger picture of lipid metabolism, of which the endocannabinoid system is kind of a central focal point. So there are numerous benefits from these essential fatty acids that that we can help modulate. We can change our biochemistry via our nutritional intake. But going beyond that, there's only certain limitations as to how much you can vary our endocannabinoid activity from that nutritional point of view. So that for many people with a whole huge spectrum of illnesses, ranging from cardiovascular disease, skeletal disease like osteoporosis, cognitive dysfunction from neurological deterioration associated with aging, and literally all the autoimmune diseases and many cancers, they all have free radicals as part of their etiology. And cannabinoids, be they the ones we make or the ones we can take in, benefit those. So it's now my position that in order for us to reset our endocannabinoid activity thermostat to lower the damage caused by essentially a degree of unnecessary inflammatory responses, we have to essentially consume cannabis, with cannabis being now, from my perspective, an essential nutrient by virtue of how it will turn down inflammatory responses and inhibit the aging process and the negative consequences of age-related illnesses. Nobody dies from being old, they die from age-related illnesses. Very safe and effective medicine that's able to uniquely tap into our endocannabinoid system, which interestingly and ironically regulates everything in our body. Hi, I'm Dr. Robert Mellamy, PhD.
Can you stop the animal one?
No, they should be
Is your body on the lead? Are you giving that one? We've got a couple of videos on the endocannabinoid system. They're only short.
When people hear about all of the different health conditions that cannabis can help with and all of the different benefits of cannabis, it's almost too hard to believe. How can one herb have so many powerful medical properties without having any dangerous side effects? This question led researchers to discover a system of physiology that we all have inside of us that's constantly maintaining balance at a cellular level. It was named the endocannabinoid system because we discovered it when we were looking for how does cannabis work. Now we know that the endocannabinoid system is active in everyone all the time, from even before you were born to the end of your life, helping promote health and balance physiologically. This system is present all through the body and all the different tissues. That's why it can help with disorders of the brain, of the various organs, like the liver or the intestines. It can help with musculoskeletal problems. It can help with inflammatory and immune issues. Your body is making cannabinoids all the time. These molecules function a lot like THC and the other cannabinoids found in the plant. And your body knows when to make these and how to make these to keep you healthy. Some people need a little help, or their endocannabinoid system may not be functioning at its optimal level, and you can address this by adding in the right dosage of cannabis from the plant. I've been surprised in my clinical practice to discover that ultra-low dosages of cannabis can be health-promoting and also relieve symptoms in patients. At these very low dosages, people will, over time, become more sensitive to cannabis and start getting better and better effects from the cannabis they're using, as well as start to develop a feeling of resilience, of strength, of balance. What I believe is happening, and this is supported by animal research, is that very low dosages of cannabis can actually upregulate and tonify your endocannabinoid system. This means the system of physiology that's been active within you since before you were born starts acting more efficiently, more optimally to promote health and balance internally. Ultra-low dosages of cannabis can be used, in my experience, to promote health and to keep people resilient to all the toxicities and changes in their environment.
So that gives you a little bit of information about the endocannabinoid system. Just like any other vitamin or mineral deficiency, you can have an endocannabinoid deficiency as well, which they're suspecting conditions like fibromyalgia, irritable bowel syndrome and migraine are actually endocannabinoid systems. But in all disease has a basis in inflammation, and cannabis is full of anti-inflammatories and antioxidants, so they actually can work as a preventative to stop these things before they happen if you incorporate it as raw cannabis in your diet. But when Prohibition was introduced for monetary reasons, if no other, when we look at history, back in the 19th century, William Avery Rockefeller was a snake oil salesman who had no compunction about preying on the weak and innocent in his pursuit of wealth and power. He used a made-up title, billing himself as Dr. Livingston's celebrated cancer specialist, despite being neither a doctor nor a celebrated cancer specialist. And like every snake oil salesman, he had a cure-all tonic to hawk. He called it rock oil. It claimed it can cure all but the most terminal cancers and charged $25 a bottle, equivalent at the time to 2 months' salary for the average American worker. Rock oil was in fact a mixture of a laxative and petroleum and had no effect whatsoever on the cancer. There were always desperate souls in every town who would be duped into buying a bottle. Here in the 21st century, we are seeing a similar story with CBD-only salesmen, building glitzy websites preying on the unsuspecting patient seeking cannabis treatments. Our snake oil salesman was the father of John D. Rockefeller, founder of the infamous Rockefeller dynasty, which brought its fortune on oil refining and its pharmaceutically derived products that were to become the snake oils of the 20th century. In the early 1860s, J.D. built an oil refinery. By 1880, he was refining 90% of the oil in America, and with the invention of the internal combustion engine, Rockefeller became unimaginably wealthy by exerting ruthless control over the oil industry. In 1911, the Supreme Court of the US found John Rockefeller and his trust guilty of corruption, illegal business practices and racketeering. He cared not. His illegal gains from the oil business were used to launch the Rockefeller Foundation. This tax haven was used to strategically take over the healthcare sector in the United States and was the front organisation for a new global pharmaceutical investment business. Around 1913, when vitamins were discovered, it soon became clear that these natural molecules had life-saving health benefits and that they were able to prevent many chronic health conditions. They were non-patentable, however. Thus, in the first years of existence, the business faced a mortal threat. Vitamins and other micronutrients promoted as public health programs would prohibit the development of investment in patented drugs. The elimination of this unwanted competition from natural micronutrients became a question of life and death for the pharmaceutical businesses. Over the next 15 years, all medical schools in the United States, most hospitals and the American Medical Association all became pawns in Rockefeller's strategy to infiltrate and control the entire healthcare sector under the monopoly of his pharmaceutical investment business. Meanwhile, in Germany, the first chemical pharmaceutical cartel was founded in order to compete with Rockefeller's quest for control of the global drug market. Led by the German multinationals Bayer, BASF and Hoesch, the IG Farben cartel was founded and the race for global control was on. The Rockefeller cartel in the United States and the IG Farben cartel in Germany decided to divide the entire globe into interest spheres. And that's what had gotten him into trouble with the law in the first place, dividing up the United States into sectors. The German cartel trialled its pharmaceutical substances on concentration camp inmates in Auschwitz and other sites. The fees for conducting these inhumane studies were transferred directly from the bank accounts of the three companies into the bank accounts of the SS who operated the concentration camps. The German cartel's plan to take control of global oil and drug markets failed when the US and other Allied forces won World War II. But the corporate shares of the losers went to the Rockefeller Trust and Rothschild, J.P. Morgan in the UK. After the war, the role of the Rockefeller brothers was not limited to their taking over the global monopolies of oil and the drug businesses. They also needed to create the political framework for these businesses to thrive. Under their influence, the United Nations was founded in 1945 to serve the well-being of the people. Its subsidiary organisations such as the World Health Organization and the World Trade Organization soon turned into political arms of the global oil and drug interests. In the meantime, enter Harry Anslinger. Harry's relationship with drugs started early in his life at age 12 when he was sent by a neighbour to pick up a package of morphine from the drugstore. Anslinger never forgot the screams of agony from the neighbour's wife's withdrawal, or how she felt good upon getting a dose, or how easy it was for a 12-year-old boy to buy morphine. A decade after this incident which haunted Anslinger, there was simply no federal laws against selling or using narcotics. They were imperative. Most persons started taking them as perfectly legal painkillers. A few of these persons became addicted, often without realising it. They merely used the narcotics so steadily that they didn't experience withdrawal. These addicts were typically white, lived in the countryside, continued to function satisfactorily at home or at work, and could afford the cheap drugs they used, which caused no trouble to anyone else. In 1920, alcohol prohibition came into force. Anslinger was quickly recognised for his effective work in curbing the flow of intoxicating beverages, and in 1930, 3 years before prohibition ended, the Bureau of Narcotics was created and Anslinger became its commissioner. Drug addiction, particularly genuine drug addiction to the opiates, had already been demonised when Anslinger came on the scene. Clinics set up to relieve the plight of addicts who had been cut off from their supplies by providing them with maintenance doses of heroin. These curbed by a series of US Supreme Court rulings to prohibit heroin maintenances as a form of medical treatment. The clinics were closed by 1925. The doctors had stopped prescribing to the addicts at all. The black market then began to flourish. His bureau surrounded one arm after another. For example, drugs caused users to commit violent crimes, and that addicts induced others to become addicted, so they were infectious in their community. The Bureau announced its enforcement success in terms statistics, because no formal systems to measure levels existed. Drug statistics could be and were manipulated, and the major thrust of the US policy was control of supply and punishment of users. During his tenure as Commissioner, Anslinger denominated the enactment of the US narcotics laws, and in the mid-1930s he turned his attention to marijuana, cannabis sativa or hemp, used at the time by a few Spanish Americans, Caribbean blacks, and in such limited circles as jazz musicians. A number of the responsible studies of the effects of marijuana and its more potent form, hashish, have pronounced it relatively harmless, but that didn't stop Anslinger and his cronies. Shocking accounts of heinous crimes induced by marijuana became emanating from the Bureau, and the theory that pot smoking was a dangerous gateway to other addictions gained credence. And the Bureau-sponsored film, Reefer Madness, was produced to popularise Anslinger's visions of the hazards of drug use. This eventually led to the enactment of the first federal cannabis prohibition law, the Marijuana Tax Act of 1937. Out of this successful propaganda, Anslinger later crafted the UN 1961 Single Convention Treaty that prohibits production and supply of cannabis and still stands as the principal cause of prohibition-related crime and violence and the criminalisation of millions of all cannabis users. Anslinger's perspective has lived on through President Nixon, President Reagan and President George Bush, all of whom intensified the drug war. This propaganda machine is still being peddled today. But fortunately, here in Australia, it was announced this week that there will be no more funding for the National Propaganda Agency, the NCPIC, who have been perpetuating the myths and lies and have been actually paid by Pfizer, the drug company, to do so. Today, the barriers are being slowly broken down. Medical cannabis is now legal in more than half the states in America, and thankfully, Australia seems to be listening. Give me 2 seconds. Now we'll go on to cannabis in the diet and different treatment methods. Cannabis is actually really essential in your diet as a preventative. Raw leaf, in times gone by, was actually used more like spinach than it is, or a salad vegetable. It's non-psychoactive and it's full of antioxidants and anti-inflammatories. There are different types of raw cannabis. You can have your hemp seeds. The hemp seeds don't cause any psychotropic reaction, nor does raw leaf, because it actually has to be activated through a process called decarboxylation, which is heat or aging, in order to activate the THC, which is the cannabinoid that actually gives you what they call the high sensation. Cannabis contains 20 different varieties of amino acids and all 9 of the essential amino acids. They contain high amounts of protein, which help in strengthening the immune system, thereby reducing the instances of disease-related immune deficiency. Hemp seeds have a delicate nutty flavour and are easily digested and can be used in a variety of ways. Raw hemp provides a broad spectrum of health benefits, including weight loss, increased and sustained energy, rapid recovery from disease or injury, lowered cholesterol and blood pressure, reduced inflammation, improvement in circulation and immune system, as well as natural blood sugar control. Raw cannabis is non-psychoactive, and science is now revealing that cannabis is the most nutrient-rich food on the planet. When you eat raw cannabis, your body is able to process extremely large amounts of THCA, which is the acid form of THC. It's not activated, so it's non-psychoactive, and CBDA without issue. Your body then converts these acids into nutrients it needs via your own metabolism. Cannabis is a superfood. This incredibly unique plant contains over 400 different chemical compounds. The number of vitamins and essential oils and acids found in cannabis has led experts like Dr. William Courtney to call weed a dietary essential. Cannabis is a particularly special plant in the world of nutrition because the herb contains extremely high concentrations of cannabinoid acids. Turns out these acids are incredibly important for basic cell function. Consuming these cannabinoid acids is important because they help your cells communicate with each other via the endocannabinoid system. Consuming more cannabinoid acids may be the key to prevention of chronic diseases caused by endocannabinoid deficiencies. And I listed some before: migraine, IBS, glaucoma, fibromyalgia, and many more. Dr. Courtney suggests that low doses of raw CBDA and THCA are much more effective than their broken down counterparts when it comes to their anti-inflammatory properties, anti-diabetic properties, anti-ischemic properties. Ischemia occurs when your blood vessels constrict, preventing oxygen from flowing to certain parts of your body. Did you have that Dr. Courtney video that I sent you about the law?
This is your body on me.
No, it's Dr. Richard Courtney. Actually, the link will be in here.
What do you
It was about raw. His video is specifically on raw. Okay, moving on. We're required by the law to state that hemp seeds are not for human consumption in Australia or New Zealand. However, they are able to supply you with nutritional benefits. They make a good body scrub and are a great food source for your pets. If you're looking to improve digestion, balance hormones and improve metabolism, then hemp seeds may just be the superfood you're looking for. For a long time, hemp seeds were ignored for the nutritional benefits because of its botanical relationship to the drug and medicine varieties of cannabis. However, hemp seeds do not cause any psychotropic activation and instead may provide significant health benefits with its unique nutritional profile. This is what we know about hemp. It has an excellent 3-to-1 balance of omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids which promote cardiovascular health. They are high in gamma-linolenic acid, GLA, an essential omega-6 fatty acid found in borage oil and egg yolks that has been proven to naturally balance hormones. Perfect protein, not only containing all 20 amino acids, but also each of the 9 essential amino acids that our bodies cannot produce. Rich in soluble and insoluble fibre, which naturally cleanses the colon and reduces sugar cravings. Hemp seeds are also a rich source of phytonutrients, including minerals calcium, iron, magnesium, manganese, phosphorus, potassium, zinc, vitamins A, B1, B2, B3, B6, vitamin D, vitamin E, and the uniqueness of GLA in hemp seeds, also found in evening primrose oil, borage seed oil and black currant oil. Gamma-linolenic acid is one of the more confusing anti-cancer compounds being promoted by the American Cancer Society and natural health enthusiasts today because of its omega-6 fatty acid. People get tripped up because they've been told ad nauseum that omega-6 fatty acids are bad for us, and that an imbalanced omega-3-6 ratio is one of the leading causes in disease in America today. Granted, most of the people don't consume enough omega-3s, but that's not because naturally occurring omega-6s are bad for you. The problem is that people rely too heavily on processed and fast foods made from commercial vegetable oils, which are high in the omega-6s. If everyone ate fruit and vegetables, nuts and seeds, no one would ever have an omega-3-6 ratio out of whack, and we wouldn't even be having this discussion about the omegas.
True.
What's the bottom line? You should boost your natural omega-3 intake, limit your vegetable oil consumption and enhance your omega-6s with GLA-rich foods like hemp seed. According to the American Cancer Society, some researchers are providing evidence that many people with cancer, diabetes and skin allergies do not make enough GLA and could benefit from supplementation. In addition to helping cancer drugs work better, studies have actually shown that GLA can slow or stop cancer as a standalone treatment. GLA and GLA-rich foods like hemp seed have also been observed to help people with ADD, breast pain, diabetes and diabetic neuropathy, heart disease, high blood pressure, multiple sclerosis, obesity, premenstrual syndrome, rheumatoid arthritis, skin allergies, and of the 7 major hemp seed benefits are hormones. The research in the 1980s observed that hormone-like substances like prostaglandins play a key role in helping the body function smoothly. It was discovered that prostaglandins help smooth muscles contract, control inflammation and body temperature, and are vital to other body functions. Hemp seed-rich GLA is known to be a necessary building block for some prostaglandins, and researchers have surmised that GLA supplementation is necessary for proper hormone health, which is probably why many women suffer from PMS, who suffer from PMS have been helped by cannabis. Number 2 is arthritis and joint pain. In a 6-month study in the Journal of Arthritis and Rheumatism, found that consuming the standalone GLA found in hemp seeds reduced arthritis symptoms by 25% compared to the placebo of only 4%. This, along with the fact that hemp seeds have an ideal ratio of omega-3 to 6 fats, along with its other minerals, help naturally reduce inflammation. Weight loss. Hemp is known as a natural appetite suppressant and can help you feel full longer, reduce sugar cravings. Some experts recommend that adding 3 tablespoons of the seeds to your breakfast will help curb excess hunger for the entire day. Digestive health. High in insoluble and soluble fibre, hemp seeds provide more than enough bulk to keep your gastrointestinal system regular. Additionally, this healthy mixture of roughage feeds the probiotics in your gut and helps secure a robust immune system. Hair, skin and nails. Hemp seed benefits for skin and hair go a long way at improving dry, red, flaky skin. Mostly used in high-end cosmetic products, hemp oil is oftentimes included in lip balms, lotions and soaps. The oil in the hemp seeds is known to penetrate the inner layers of the skin and promote healthy cell growth, the recipe for smooth, soft skin. Since hemp oil is also good for skin disorders such as psoriasis and eczema, it is a good idea to eat at least a couple of tablespoons of hemp seed every day to maximise these benefits as well, and then create a homemade skin cream combining hemp seed oil, shea butter and essential oils like lavender. Number 6 is cancer. Because it's a perfect fatty acid profile of omega-3 fats and the GLA. This helps naturally balance inflammation levels and strengthen the immune system. The British Journal of Cancer reports that THC in hemp seeds can stop, possibly reverse, glioblastoma multiforme, a deadly form of brain cancer. The Journal of Breast Cancer Research and Treatment confirms that THC in hemp seeds improved advanced stage breast cancer. Researchers from the University of Rostock in Germany discovered the same hemp seeds benefits for lung cancer. After evaluating the research, consuming hemp seeds could be part of a healthy anti-cancer diet and natural treatment plan. Number 7, heart health. Some of the key ingredients in building a healthy heart include fibre, plant-based protein, healthy fats and eating less sugar, and hemp seeds help in doing all of these things. I recommend adding 2 tablespoons of hemp seeds to a morning smoothie to naturally lower blood pressure, reduce LDL cholesterol and raise HDL cholesterol and improve triglycerides. Other hemp seed uses. Hemp is in fact one of the most widely utilised and diverse industrial crops in the world. Its fibre are considered the longest and most durable of all the natural fibres, and it can even be grown without deadly herbicides and pesticides. Some of the more commercial uses include body care products, building materials, cleaning products, health foods, plastic and textiles. Topicals are a variety of ointments and creams, and massage oils, balms, the list goes on. Cannabis roots are used in these products because they achieve such amazing results. We should have, yeah. Sorry. Okay. Green bud for vaporising or smoking. Vaporising is cleaner as it only brings the herb to the point of vaporisation of the compounds rather than burning them. And so forth. There's no products of combustion that you get from smoking. Each cannabinoid and terpene, etc., vaporises off at a different temperature. Have we got our temperature chart? Yeah, it should be there. Thank you. Okay. They vaporise off at a different temperature, so you can actually control with vaporisation which cannabinoids you're taking in. So with a temperature control vaporiser, you can actually set it to whatever temperature you want. Vaporising at 311 degrees Fahrenheit, the terpene apinene, which is in pine, can be found, and is more effective, in my opinion, than Ventolin, and I don't get the Ventolin shakes or the heart palpitations. Cannabis is also used to treat asthma and COPD, whether vaporiser or smoking. You can see the different temperatures on the chart. Okay, you can see it by the different temperatures on this chart. That all of the different cannabinoids and terpenes evaporate off at different temperatures. Don't discount smoking cannabis though. Studies have proven that it's the tobacco that causes lung cancer. Cannabis is actually used to treat it. In my case, with PTSD, where my PTSD is concerned, smoking is the only way I can successfully control the anxiety symptoms from my ongoing emotional hysteria. Self-titration or dosing as I need, not by the clock. Sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less. You can eat when you're hungry. You eat when you're hungry, don't you? A lot when famished, a little at other times. Self-titration is used throughout many cannabis treatments. Necessity is the mother of invention, and through that treatment methods are many, varied, and patients quickly find their own successful method. All information is anecdotal. But so is what you go and tell your doctor each time you visit him and update your health progress. That's anecdotal as well. I found the MCUA on Facebook and I'm so very glad I did. I also found cannabis medicine and cannabis oil, and today I'm going on 2 years with my autoimmune disease stable, and I haven't required one single prescription medication for them since. Across the board, all of my symptoms are reduced, and that is thanks to the demonised THC. I now see cannabis as the food medicine it really is. No esophageal spasming, no digital ulcers. I became a very dedicated and loudly supportive cannabis advocate, and I am living proof that cannabis works for so many varied conditions. I'm also saving a fortune on money previously spent at the chemist each month. THC is necessary in my treatments, as it is in the majority of patients. You require THC to treat conditions including PTSD and chronic pain, as I do, and they've even been found, THC has also been found successful in stopping status seizures in their tracks. You know, those seizures, the kids who have epilepsy and they just keep going and going and going. THC has been found to actually stop them within a couple of minutes. THC and CBD are more likely the only two cannabinoids you've heard of, but there are over 400 different cannabinoids, terpenes and flavonoids amongst cannabis plant makeup. The varying combinations of these compounds, the cannabinoids, terpenes, etc., determine the different strains. Indica, have we got a photo of the, indica and sativa?
Yep. Carry on, I'll bring it.
Indica with its fat wide leaves. Which will relax, and sativa, which will have, you can see there, has the long narrow leaves, is more energising. Cannabis is a lot more than a plant with funny looking leaves. The entourage effect. This is why whole plant and cannabis is so very important, and why we can't just take a piece here and a piece there and say that's cannabis medicine, because it's actually the entourage effect that makes this work so much better as well. The entourage effect, all those little cannabinoids, terpenes and other compounds within the plant working together is what has been proven to be successful in treatment. And I don't just mean proven by patients, I mean proven scientifically. And is why broken down versions with a single cannabinoid like CBD, which is so widely promoted, will not be as successful as the whole plant. You only need to look at the flurry that Charlotte's Web caused in the United States. CBD was successful alone for only a very short period of time, because THC or THCA were also essential in the treatment. You've got the picture of the decarboxylation. I'll quickly just... In raw cannabis,
Is it on
the THC, it should be the next photo along.
on your doctor?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
You carry on.
THCA is what is found in raw cannabis, and that means the flowers too. It needs to be heated or aged in order to what they call decarboxylate, and that changes it very slightly chemically, takes away the carbon dioxide part of it, and it makes it into THC, which does have the psychoactive effect. Hopefully today you'll be going home with a better understanding of cannabis medicine, but I suggest everyone do their own research. It's as easy as Googling your condition treated with cannabis. From there you can find recognised studies which have already been conducted overseas. I found dozens of studies completed on my disease. No wonder cannabis has been so successful for my scleroderma. More importantly, cannabis and cannabinoids with high THC keeps me emotionally balanced. A psychiatrist once explained that with my PTSD, my ongoing emotional state is hysteria. The THC brings me back down to normal where I can function and focus. THC doesn't get me high, it gets me balanced. So many medical conditions are treatable with cannabis, not just because it treats the symptoms as mainstream medications do, but because it brings our bodies back into balance. homeostasis, whereby your body can heal itself with the assistance of cannabis, dietary changes and water. From March 2017 onwards, any doctor in Queensland can apply to prescribe cannabis, GPs included, although it's yet to be determined whether there'll be an affordable, available supply of the required products to fulfil these prescriptions. Cannabis-friendly doctors are difficult to find at the moment, mostly because none of them have ever been allowed to do any research into it, or else risk their registration. After decades of prohibition, cannabis-supportive doctors are quite few and far between. Doctors' mindset on cannabis, as well as their academic knowledge, will need to change. You can do this. Go to your doctor and ask him to become educated. It doesn't take long, a little longer than one of these workshops we have today. The clinical cannabinoid curriculum courses for physicians and nurses, and soon for pharmacists as well, are available online. These courses attract continuing education points and are easily understood by both patients and carers. TMCI Global, a once mainstream medical educator for 20 years, changed their curriculum 7 years ago to cannabis-only courses. And the MCUA Australia are the Australian affiliates for TMCI Global for these courses, and we can offer discounts on them. You'll find all of the information for those on our website. I've actually done the physician's course myself, and it wasn't that difficult. If by chance you have if by chance we have a supply to fulfil the prescriptions come March, then we shall see how it all unfolds. It's new ground for everyone, so nobody really knows what's going to happen in the next few months. However, if there is no Queensland supply, then the next and present avenue is via the TGA Special Access Scheme. There are 2 levels of this, and I think I sent you copies of the A and B forms. Yeah, so we've got the TGA forms where you have to apply. One is A, which is for terminal illness, and B is for those who aren't terminal. Now that you've found your doctor and he's completed a separate application for every single treatment method, one application for full extract oil for the cancer I had removed with my kidney in February, another application for cannabis-infused carrier oil, the successful method for treating my scleroderma. I have esophageal spasming where I have trouble swallowing solid food. For 2 years I was on fluids because I couldn't get solid food down. I'm now eating again. But with esophageal spasming, capsules bypass the affected area before dissolving, and sublingual tinctures under the tongue, they don't get to the affected area. So if I take a carrier oil, I infuse avocado oil with cannabis in my crock pot, and if I take 1 teaspoon of that 3 times a day, I have absolutely no spasm. The oil comes into direct contact as it goes down and with the esophagus, and it works. Another application for that treatment method. Then an application for the topical cream, which is infused coconut oil, cocoa butter, some pure zinc cream, magnesium, which you can get from the health food store, some beeswax, and your crock pot. And this has been more successful for me because with my scleroderma I have skin issues too. It's a systemic sclerosis. I've got lesions from the top of my head to my ankles. And this has worked better than any prescription medications or steroids that I've had for the last 10 years. After the TGA process is complete, sorry, I've skipped some there. Okay, so that's another application method. So we've got one for the full extract oil and one for the infused oil. Then we have another application for the green bud for the vaporising. And an application for the tabletop vaporizer, because you have to, they don't just let you use any vaporizer. In their wisdom, they have specified a vaporizer that costs about $1,500. And then lastly, an application for a portable vaporizer for when you're out and about. So for me, that would be a total of 6 applications to treat myself that have to go through the process with the TGA. and there is no set time frame for these approvals. Lindsay Carter, who's the only approved patient in Queensland, started the application process 4.5 years ago. He was finally granted permission in May, and as of this week, I think he's received his green bud this week, 6 months after being approved. As far as I know, they're still waiting on oil. After the TGA's process is complete, you need to go through a duplicate process with the state government. So I think we've got an application there for Queensland. Then, once you've got all of your applications in this country sorted, then you have to go through the health department of the country where you want to source your medicine. So it is a long and involved process how they have set it up. There hasn't been very much thought put into it as far as patients' needs of quick. You know, like you can go to the chemist and you can get any other prescription medication with a prescription. You know, the amount of regulations on this is prohibitive rather than helpful. Okay. Then, once you have your permissions from your health, all of your health officials, then you have to source your own supplier. You have to go to all of the approved, because there are only certain suppliers that are approved. Many in the United States aren't approved because of their export laws, so the Carters actually had to go to Canada to source theirs. Then you have to go and find one of the list. I think there are 31 licensed providers in Canada. You go to each one of their websites and then you go through the list of all of their products and try and find what you need. It's not very patient friendly, to be perfectly honest. There are costs involved along the way here. You will have your dispensing and your product overseas. It's packaging and shipping and any costs involved in that process. Even when it gets to Australia, there are costs to be shouldered because there's no PBS. All costs are shouldered by the patient. The green bud, for instance, is packaged and shipped in 15-day packages. Queensland Health and their wisdom will only allow 7-day supply at a time. So these packages, when they arrive, need to be opened, broken up and repackaged by the receiving pharmacist, who also has to go to customs and pick up your medicine himself. So there are all sorts of hidden costs that are going to be in this. He has his own charges before dispensing, including picking up the imported medicines and secure storage of the product. This is another thing that has been a requirement. They have to provide secure storage in their pharmacies for a product that can't kill you. I wonder if they store their opiates and all the other drugs like that in the same level of security. Okay, the first application is through the TGAs for 3 months, after which time you need to reapply and go through the whole process again with no guarantee of approval. Subsequent approvals will be either for 6 or 12 months. So far, it has cost the Carter family for the first 3 months medication for Lindsay, which was only oil and buds, $9,000. So when you go to the next lot, which is going to be 6 months, you can multiply that accordingly, and 12 months, it just keeps increasing. So this is really being priced out of the everyday person's use by government, unless they have a supply here in Queensland come March to fulfil all of these medicines. Public hospital patients will need to get their GPs to prescribe for them. Outpatient doctor turnover means that the prescribing doctor will not be available at the end of the 3-month term for a follow-up re-evaluation and a report on the patient and products. So as well as investigating the doctor during the application process, at the end of the 3 months they go back to the doctor, they make sure the doctor knows what he is prescribing, how the patient is improving, how the medication has worked, and they have to go back to the TGA and give them all of that information as well. Although I have heard that public hospital doctors have been ordered by their employer Queensland Health to toe the party line where cannabis is concerned or risk losing your job. Thankfully we have our GPs to fall back on up here in Queensland, and I'm presently jumping through all of those legal hoops myself. The cost, well as I said, the only patient who has been approved in Queensland, it costs them $9,000. I don't know anyone that can afford to maintain that cost for treatment. That led Queensland Government to ensure a supply of prescribed product, or patients just like me are forced to continue to risk prosecution to maintain my medical conditions. Okay. Sorry. We spoke earlier about the endocannabinoid system. Sorry, I'll just jump back here because I've left out a whole section about endocannabinoid deficiency. Based on the scant knowledge available regarding the endocannabinoid system and cannabinoid science overall, some researchers have theorised that many diseases, blah blah blah, sorry, mate, I think we already, I'm getting all confused and lost here. Happiness gene, here we go. We actually have a gene responsible for happiness, and it's linked to cannabis. The gene responsible for the effects of marijuana may explain why some people are naturally happier than others. Scientists in Japan measured happiness levels amongst nearly 200 individuals and found those who carried the variation of the gene were happier on average and responded more positively to emotional cues. The gene that was identified encodes with the CB1 receptor, the pathway in the brain responsible for the marijuana high. The human cannabinoid receptor 1 genotypes are closely related to two aspects of happiness, wrote the researchers. The study was published this month in an open access journal. CB1 receptors are highly concentrated in the brain and act to alter appetite, pain, mood, memory. According to the team, a polymorphism of the CB1 receptor gene may enhance an individual's response to cannabinoids, which are the chemicals that activate the pathways. But the study didn't just involve smoking cannabis. As it turns out, the human body produces... Now we're going back to what I've already covered in what we produce in our own bodies, because we do. We produce all of these. And with cannabis raw cannabis out of our diet, where are we going to get the building blocks to make these endogenous cannabinoids? It's been said that we're fourth generation endocannabinoid deficient, and it's responsible for so many things. I saw a video from Princeton University, who at the time were covering cholesterol. In the 1960s, they came out, it was on Time magazine, that cholesterol was bad for you. So for 50 years, people were cutting fats out of their diets, and then they found out that, oh no, hang on, we have good fats and bad fats. So we're actually making people sick with this. And in 2014, they came out and they said, no, we were wrong. You know, you actually need these fats in your diet. And the same thing's happening with cannabis, because if you look back, this video that I said Princeton University popped out, it was about cholesterol, but it was interesting in the time chart, I don't know whether I put that image in there, the time chart where from around about the same time as Prohibition to World War II, when cannabis was removed as a dietary staple from our everyday diets, heart disease rose 300%, and it was only slowed by the introduction of pharmaceutical drugs. And if you look at the two graphs, you can see they overlay on one another. Cannabis has also been proven in studies to have the potential to rewrite damaged DNA. I found hemp seed is very successful in this. With I've got an autoimmune disease called scleroderma. Part of that, it basically is, it's a connective tissue disease, so collagen actually fills all of the connective tissue in my body. It's systemic, so it can affect skin, organs, bone, muscles, tendons, nerves, everything. It's systemic. It can affect any part of my body, and it's already attacking my GI, gastrointestinal area. But one of the other things that happens is it's a condition called sclerodactyly, where as the collagen fills up in your fingers start to curl, and you end up with claws. These two fingers of mine were actually curled over, and I couldn't straighten them at all. After starting hemp seed, 2 tablespoons twice a day, as well as the cannabis oil, my hands, they're not 100%, they'll never be 100% again, I have nerve damage, but I can move them again, they're useful. You know, they're not curled over and just sitting there and, you know, anyway. So, but that's been proven in studies that cannabis has the potential to rewrite DNA, damaged DNA, so that's very exciting for autoimmune diseases, especially like I have. Okay. The MCUA has evolved from Gail Hester's tribute to her 21-year-old daughter Sarah, who tragically was taken by bowel cancer before cannabis medicine was commonly known, into the MCUA of Australia Incorporated, a not-for-profit incorporated association advocating for over 11,700 patients and the largest cannabis advocacy group in Australia. I can't think of a more fitting legacy. Where is she hiding? Gail? Please visit the MCUA website or our Facebook group, where you can ask questions via post or read through the information. The group page also has a search bar where you can call up any of the older posts by just putting, you know, something, you know, your topic in the search bar, and it'll call up all of the old posts that are there on that subject. Our membership coordinator, Lorna Bremner, will now introduce you to our lineup of speakers. Wonderful, knowledgeable folk from the cannabis community. Take what you learned today and teach others. Knowledge is power. Thank you and enjoy.